Welcome to Respec Games, where we respect games. This is Tell. This is Polow. I'm Polow. That's Tell. Welcome to episode 2 of Respec Games, the gaming podcast. Thank you so much for the support on episode 1 of Respec Games. We truly appreciate that. It means the world to us. Shout out to everybody that reached out to us and said they love what they're hearing so far. We're excited to bring you a proper structured show of Respec Games, and so you can get a feel of what Respec Games is going to be. I'm excited about this one, Tel. How about you?
I feel like I love it, right? So I know in my gaming classes, technically what we did was an episode 0. And that's where you start. You start at 0 when it comes to gaming and programming and whatnot. So that was really an episode 0. This would be episode 1. So
right.
While this is going to be your episode 2, so to speak,
I should have took that nomenclature and put it into this one. That'd be sweet for this one to be episode 1. Since it is episode 1.
Yeah.
As we talked about last week, we gave you the structure of how Respec Games is going to go with the different segments broken down, and you're going to get a listen at how we're going to do the show proper. Starting off with, so it's hard to talk about this because it's like normally I would say we start every episode. This is only the first episode, so I'm just going to start now. With every episode, we start with respect. With respect is a segment where we give flowers to game developers, game studios, etc. And that's essentially what Respec Gaming is about: giving proper flowers and respect to the games and the gaming industry. So, with respect, I would like to go first and give my with respect badge to DigitalExtremes. So if you're unfamiliar with DigitalExtremes, they are the developers behind the very popular game, long-running game, Warframe, and now the upcoming game Soulframe as well. But they're mostly about Warframe. Warframe has been going for 10 years now. They just had their TennoCon, is what they call it, basically a convention where they talk purely what's the goings on with Warframe, or in this case, Warframe and Soulframe. And I would like to give my with respect badge to DigitalExtremes because what they built over there with Warframe is some of the most impressive, wonderful tech I've ever seen in a video game. Warframe has been running for, as I said, 10 years, and it has so much content. And I mean hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. No, scratch that. Thousands of hours of content that is endless. It's very, very, I guess you can call it free to play friendly because it is a free to play game, but it doesn't. The great thing about Warframe is that it's just you play the game, you have every piece of content that they've ever released at your fingertips, no matter what. And that is, I think I find that truly special. I mean, I will say this, and we're going to talk about this later in the show, but within Warframe, there's about a minimum of 7 different genres of games within Warframe alone. And that I find that so impressive at how they continue to fit content on top of content inside of that game, which isn't even that big of a size. You would think it'd be the size of Call of Duty Black Ops or something like that, which is like 128 gigs, but no, it's like 50 to 70 gigs of just pure content. So I just want to give my with respect badge to DigitalExtremes because them continuing to add more content to that game is very special. I'm going to talk about that in the news section of the show in more detail, but I find that to be very impressive what they do over there as far as the studio goes, and for just congratulating them for running for 10 years. That's so impressive.
It is. And I've enjoyed that game as well. I haven't played it as extensively as Polow, but I have put in some hours into it and enjoyed what I got to play. Now, my with respect badge will be going to BlackThornProd, and it's BlackThorn Productions, and they are Noah and Liam Callis. And what they essentially do is they are indie developers who do game jams, which many of us may already know. And if you don't know what a game jam is, essentially it's when you get a bunch of developers and get them to either work on a game together or work on individual projects with a certain idea in mind. And they run these game jams with these challenges that are kind of unique, and they allow game developers to fund their projects, promote their projects, and win money based off their game jams. And essentially, they have even provided classes and educational lessons for those who want to become game developers. And there are a group of people that I've actually gained a little bit of inspiration from as a aspiring game developer. Yeah. So it is a really cool philosophy, and they run most of their stuff off of like itch.io, where you can get games relatively cheap, but you can actually find their game jams there. And if you go to their YouTube, you'll see a long list of game jams they've done with some really cool projects. Like they have a project with 100 game developers, 100 different game developers working on one game to get an outcome.
Oh, wow.
And they're not allowed to communicate with each other. They're only allowed to go into the game and work on what is already there.
So different developers are working on different parts without any communication.
Without communication or anything like that.
Extremely dope.
The project could come out as amazing or it can come out as not amazing. You know what I mean? So they do some really cool, interesting things. And it, as a challenge for game developers or anyone who is listening and wants to even see something interesting like that, BlackThornProd, they do some really cool stuff, and they help develop game developers all over.
You want to know what's funny about that? Is Warframe feels like that's exactly what they did for that game. Because I'm telling you, like Warframe has, it's a looter shooter, essentially. And they have your typical, defense missions, and you go through a linear level, but they also have space battles and giant ships that you can pilot. And also you can come out of your warframes, because warframes are like mechs, essentially, for lack of a better term. You can just come out of, and it's like so many different games, and it seems like a bunch of people, just like what BlackThornProd did, just came together and develop different parts of this game and put it all into one. That's so funny.
What is crazy about, like you said, with Warframe though, is imagine the actual, and that's one of the big things I've learned about coding and programming in general, is efficiency. You don't want a game with 120 gigs. You want a game with as small amount of storage as possible, but able to compact or put as much of that in as possible. So what they have done in their years and being able to maintain that level of density is amazing. That is literally impressive. Coding efficiency. That means that whatever they put out, if they can maintain that level of efficiency, their gaming is going to be beautiful.
100% true, because they even added, because before it was like hub based, right? You just go to different, like you go to this hub and you drop into this mission. Now there's open worlds, and there's multiple open worlds and different open worlds, and they're all vastly different. It's extremely impressive. Again, shout out to those two, BlackThornProd and DigitalExtremes. We appreciate y'all for what y'all do, and it's extremely impressive. So, and congratulations again to DigitalExtremes for 10 years running TennoCon. It's impressive as well. All right, moving on to what we consider, or what we call, vertical slice. I wish I had like sound effects. Shing.
Ding, you should.
Oh, maybe that's something I had. So a vertical slice is games that we are playing or planned on playing this week, or last week, essentially. This week, we played a bit of Soulframe, which, again, is from DigitalExtremes. Because what happened is, and then we're going to get to this a little bit later in the news section, but during their TennoCon, they released what they call Soulframe Preludes. And Soulframe Preludes is essentially a pre-alpha of Soulframe, which is their newest game that they're coming out with, which is different, vastly different from Warframe, albeit the name being similar. Vastly different than Warframe. And I sat in Discord with the boys just yesterday from the time we were recording this and gamed on Soulframe for about 5 hours. Now, again, you could tell it's super early pre-alpha because there are a lot of repetitive enemies and some reused assets, but I had a very good time playing that game. Such a good time. I think it's going to be special. Even what they got right now is extremely special and extremely impressive with the tech they're using.
And I'll even say, while it's hard to say anything in gaming is necessarily unique, right?
Right.
But the way the game starts feels unique. It felt
super unique.
It felt special, like Polow said. in your character creation. I almost kind of don't even want to spoil it if you haven't seen it already. I would recommend if you already have it, or if you want to see what it's like, just go watch a video of it. The way that you even build your character it feels unique, and it almost felt outer body experience kind of scenario, like you were watching your own birth in a sense. Yeah. So yeah, you gotta actually get into it and do that yourself. But when you actually get into the game and play it, the motion of it, the feel of it also kind of felt unique to me, in my opinion. I was playing the caster character, and I'm casting my spell, or I'm throwing my shot, and the way that it flowed felt like there was some intention behind the flow. Yeah. Where it almost felt like, there was a little bit of wind up to it, but you had to actually think about your accuracy. You had to think about where you were placing your shots. You had to think about the motions you were taking. And I'm like, man, I'm gonna have to learn how to actually do this. And that's an impressive and important thing in a game. Yeah. Is although it's going to have bugs in the beginning and whatnot, the feel of it is what's going to keep you in. And I like to say that the feel of it, the look of it, the experience of it felt like I wanted to be there and I wanted to stay there. Yeah, it absolutely needs again, it's pre-alpha. Like, and that's the one thing Digital Extremes has always done, even with Warframe back in the day, is gave their community access to what they're building extremely early, just to get that feedback. And that's what made Warframe what it is, by getting that fan feedback. And I think with this one, man, they're cooking up something nice. Because the difference between I think they took what they learned from Warframe, as far as like the open world stuff that they came way later. Like, I think open world stuff in Warframe came like 5 or 6 years into their development. But for Soulframe, they're doing a completely seamless open world where, going into dungeons, there's no loading screens whatsoever. So it's impressive. It's so far for pre-alpha is very, very impressive. And then as far as vertical slice, what I have upcoming, for those of you that don't know, we do have, everything is going to be on our YouTube channel, as well as our personal channels if we do any personal videos. So for me, I plan on recording something I did in 2019. I was into that is it worth it type of deal, but I plan on doing that, bringing that back again with my good friend, gaming buddy of ours, Legal Overdose. And we're going to do is it worth it for MMOs? And MMOs is my favorite genre, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later for Critical Hit, but MMOs are my favorite genre. And so is it worth it is going to be coming back this week, hopefully. It should be recorded, edited, and uploaded to the Respec Gaming YouTube, which is youtube.com/@Respec Gaming. So make sure you subscribe, like, and all that good stuff, as well as rate the podcast on Spotify. We appreciate that too. I forgot to mention that at the beginning, but I digress. Yeah, so that's it for my vertical slice. Tell, what about you? That's going to be exciting, by the way. Yeah. So what I played, as Polow spoke of MMOs, is I played the Pokemon MMO. I already uploaded the video to the Respec Gaming YouTube. Yeah. And the Pokemon MMO, while it is still very much Pokemon, it is the regular game. It's a regular game. Yeah. But there are literally other people there. They have an actual in-game currency / trade system where you can buy Pokemon items, costumes, everything on a global trade system. And it's kind of interesting to see how, although it is literally just the same Pokemon game you would have played, like I started off in Unova, which is Pokemon Black. Yes. And which I love seeing, by the way. And there has 4 other generations with it. So it's all the previous generations from Unova. So you got generation 4, 3, 2, 1. And I can go to each of them after I beat Unova. But it is very interesting to see, like, I'm playing through the story for the first time in this game. And you're seeing people walk around with their Pokemon, and they have all of theirs, and they will stop and battle, and you can choose to click on them and watch a battle. Oh, they have a bunch of different costumes. It's actually very, very interesting. I haven't even gotten to the highest peak of it yet, and it's still with one badge in. Extremely, extremely interesting. Now, for my vertical slice. Now, I was wanting to see if Polow would be down for humanity.
Oh yeah.
But we can put that off for a little bit because I do have some other games that I kind of want to play that I added to my Steam library recently. So the game that I've actually been looking at and kind of wanting to master, it is a turn-based roguelike game. It's called Rune Coliseum. Now, I was recommended this game about a year ago from a coworker at Best Buy when I was in Geek Squad. When I told him I like turn-based games, he said, well, this one is pretty interesting. And what it does is how it plays is essentially you take a character in a Coliseum. Mm-hmm. You start off with, I think, a slave, a ninja, or like a warrior. And you can do either one of them. And what it does is the person across from you, they can make a certain amount of actions. And those actions will give you a prediction on what those actions look like, but not actually tell you how much damage they will do or anything like that. But you'll get an idea as to where they will land in that action. Almost like that game we play, Atlas Reactor. But your actions will react to theirs or act against theirs. So if you clash, it cancels out unless you do more damage or they do more damage, in which case you will take the brunt of that damage, or, vice versa.
Almost like rock, paper, scissors kind of deal.
Yes. But there is a level of interestingness to it because eventually there's bosses, you'll get new equipment, you'll get elemental abilities, and there's other classes you can unlock. Like I think I saw a monk, I saw like a magic caster. So there's a bunch of different things that you can unlock as the game progresses. I've only played one round so far, and I will tell you it is extremely difficult, but I do want to actually give it a fair chance and give it a go, and see how in depth and how crazy it can actually get. But that's Rune Coliseum.
That's dope. I like that. I like that a lot. Okay. All right. So before we get into the news, let's bring in some of our friends who participated in the first episode of the podcast. I want to give a special shout out to our guy, one of our producers over on Mike Check Waifu, our anime podcast. So if you are into anime, make sure you go check that out. But our guy Frozen, who commented on our Spotify episode of the podcast and said, great episode, guys. My first game was Pokemon Go, and I have a log. I've also logged countless hours of Pokemon over the years. And then secondly, a comment on our YouTube video from our guy Rob Stone, another producer over on Mike Check Waifu. He says, episode 1 seems like a good place to set out my gaming history as well. Although I played a few games on floppy disk on my dad's computer, I started with the Game Boy Color and Pokemon Red and Silver, the various Zelda games, etc. The GameCube was my first console. So many of my favorite games came from that system. There's definitely an element of nostalgia there, but I think they hold up like Mirror's Edge does for you. None of these games are my most played. The dubious honor belongs to the various Football Manager games, EUIV or Europa, and Crusader Kings 2 and 3. But they are games that shaped my gaming habits, and I look back on most fondly and return to them every few years. His number 5, it says top 5 is as listed: Legend of Zelda: Wind Waker, Fire Emblem: Path of Radiance, for number 4. For number 3, Valkyria Chronicles. For number 2, Tales of Symphonia. And for number 1, Skies of Arcadia. Yeah, these are definitely GameCube ass games.
Yeah, man.
Which is great. You know what? When I think of Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, I think of an old friend of ours. His name is Tevin. I used to go over his house during. He was a friend of a guy who I used to live on the same street at Carlson. It was his cousin, actually. I used to go over to their house every weekend, and we used to play the GameCube. And I vividly remember playing Legend of Zelda Wind Waker and thinking it was the most beautiful game I've ever seen in my entire life, graphically. And it wasn't anything special, but it was back when The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker first came out. And it was such an experience, man. I'm like, this is fucking cool, dude. This is so sick. I was wholly impressed. And then, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, bro.
I was just going to say Fire Emblem is probably the 2 games he has in his top 5 are 2 games that are probably be in my top 10. And that's Fire Emblem. I love the Fire Emblem series. And I can't really choose one of the Fire Emblem games, but I just love them. And then Valkyria Chronicles. Valkyria Chronicles, I think I still have the physical copy on PS4. And I also have like the remastered version of it. And I also had it on I think it's on PC. Actually, I got it. I don't know, I think about it. But love Valkyria Chronicles and Fire Emblem. Sorry.
But I was going to say my experience with GameCube, while I loved my GameCube. I played it a lot. I even had that little attachment where you can plug up your Game Boy Advance and play. Yeah. And I literally was playing Pokemon on my GameCube, even though I could just play it on my handheld.
Right.
But I remember going over Polow's house.
Yeah, we used to bring
playing. What was it? It was the Robo Cube, some game like that, which I had never heard of. But Polow put me onto that game. I'm like, yo, this game is fire.
We used to bring
What?
I remember we used to bring out the TV and the Breezeway and the GameCube, set everything up.
Man, yeah, and I'm like, I never played this game before, and I used to love that game, and I have never seen it again. I've never seen anyone play it. I found it on YouTube a few years ago, but I was like, man, I have not played that game in forever. And then the other one was Pikmin. I had never played Pikmin before, and Polow put me on Pikmin, and I'm like, yo, there's no way I've never played Pikmin, bro.
Man. It was so good, dude, because it was just so unique, man. It was a very unique game. I can't remember if the RoboQ was the name of that game, but
it was Robo something.
I do remember that because you fight these little robots. Custom Robo.
There you go.
Custom Robo. Yeah, we played this fucking religiously. Oh my goodness, dude. Let's bring back memories. So such good nostalgic memories, man. And then Pikmin. Just again, talk about a unique game. That game is extremely unique. With just throwing these little aliens and they just move stuff for you.
Man,
just so cool. Again, thank y'all so much for writing on the YouTube and in the Spotify. Remember, just feel free to follow the Spotify podcast and rate it and subscribe to the YouTube, etc. We'll appreciate it if you do. It helps us out a lot because it is a brand new venture that we're journeying on. And I'm quite thankful to all the support we're getting so far. Also, 100%. Join the Discord too. We do plan on gaming there, and you can game with us. All right, to move on to the news. Let's discuss a few news. What we plan to do for news is bring 2 articles each that we're both interested in talking about. Not going into too much detail, but things that we're just interested in the gaming industry that we feel that deserves a little bit more attention. And most of the things we're going to talk about now has a lot of attention, but just how we want to discuss it. Also, we also have a section in our Discord community where you could drop any gaming news that you want to discuss. So you could drop an article and any thoughts that you have in the gaming news section of our Discord. So join the Discord. It will be linked inside of the show notes, as well as all the links to the articles that we're discussing today and everything that we talked about as far as the main topic goes. So check out the show notes. It'll all be listed there for you. Now, starting off with my topic that I want, or my news article that I'm interested in, is that Battlefield 6 open beta is confirmed. Now, I know we talked about last episode how we're not Call of Duty fans, okay? Which is true. Very, very true. I am not a Call of Duty guy at all. But when it comes to Battlefield, that's a different story. I will forever have room for Battlefield no matter what, even if it's bad, good, etc., whatever. I even signed up. I even got the opportunity, shout out to EA, they sent me an email and said, hey, will you be interested in becoming one of our private closed NDA Battlefield testers? I didn't get in, unfortunately, but I'm like, hell yeah, I would like to. They even said hey, do you live near Austin? Would you like to fly to Austin to come play it? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I'm in Austin. You could just, wherever you got to go, wherever it is, just tell me and I will drive there. It doesn't matter. But of course, they didn't accept me, unfortunately. But yeah, Battlefield 6 open beta is confirmed and it will include a key change. And this is what I'm excited for. So despite the next battle, this article is coming from GameSpot, by the way. Let me just shout out to Eddie McGook. He says, despite the next Battlefield game not not yet being officially announced, EA and DICE have confirmed that the open beta is going to be an open beta for Battlefield 6. Not only is the open beta coming, but the official Battlefield account said that the beta will allow players to choose open or closed weapon setups. Why not both? The developer said in the open beta, players can choose a playlist that's signature weapons locked to specific classes or not, and with more to come, the developer said. Older titles like the much-loved Battlefield 4 had class-locked weapons, but Battlefield 2042 introduced the ability for players in any class to choose whatever weapons they wanted. Some portion of the audience didn't enjoy this, while others embraced this expanded freedom. It appears that DICE is trying to appease both audiences by giving them both options in Battlefield 6. Each class in Battlefield 6 will have signature weapons, and using them provides certain benefits, etc., etc. I'm not going to read all that, but basically, I'm excited for Battlefield 6 because some of the leaked footage that dropped. Sorry, yeah. But watched it. It looks phenomenal. It brings me back to Battlefield 3, which I played hundreds and hundreds of hours of. I didn't play Battlefield 4 as much, but Battlefield 4 was also great. I'm extremely excited for what Battlefield 6 looks like and what it is about to bring. Now, as far as the signature weapon goes, the fact that they have two different playlists is something that I'd never even considered them doing. Like, because it's a big deal. Like when you pick an assault class in Battlefield, you know you can get an AKM or an AK-74U, right? But you can't have a sniper rifle, or you can't have a submachine gun. You know what I'm saying? Like these other guns that are specific to like engineer or sniper, et cetera, et cetera. The fact that they're trying to do both in this open beta, I think is very interesting. It'll be a good way for them to get some feedback on what the actual community want out of a Battlefield game. I'm super excited for this. I love Battlefield. It is definitely my favorite shooter series of all time.
And the cool thing about that is that if we're really on a battlefield, you kind of got to take what you get. You know what I mean?
True. It's very true.
So for my news, it is going to be covering Elden Ring Night Reign, which is a game I have kind of been enjoying and endeared to since I picked it up. As a person who hasn't played a Souls-like game in over a decade, probably over that, like 12, 13 years is the last time I've played one. But this article comes from IGN. Elden Ring Night Reign will start rolling out more enhanced bosses at the end of July. Eric Van Allen says Nightfarers might want to prep and gear up. From Software is sending out its next set of enhanced bosses, the Everdark Sovereigns, for Elden Ring Night Reign at the end of this month. The next 4 Everdark Sovereigns will arrive as part of a new Everdark cycle in Limville, starting on July 31st. The 4 bosses up for upgrades this time are Tricephalus, Augur, Equilibrious Beast, and Fissure in the Fog, which Augur don't need no buffs.
Well,
Augur don't need a third phase.
Oh, is that what they're doing? Like adding phases to these bosses?
So, and that is one of the mean, but yes, some of the bosses are getting entirely new phases where they're just literally tougher, and they get new attack sequences, new patterns to figure out. These bosses, while the game has been out long enough for people to be min-maxing, you know what I mean? Like they're finding ways to guarantee easy games or guarantee victories and whatnot. The thing is that some of these bosses, regardless, if this game is essentially a roguelike, it is a roguelike. So when you go in, you don't guarantee anything. You can get as close to possible as 100% as you can to something, but even then you're not guaranteeing what you're going to get. So even if you get as close to optimal loot as you can get, you can drop in, you get to the boss, your teammate did not get the optimal loot.
Right.
And that boss is going to slaughter them, and now you're stuck trying to figure out how you're going to win this 1v1 against the overall boss. And then they add a new phase to it. And that's going to take time to figure out. And that's part of the love of the game. You know what I mean? Is that there's new phases that you have to figure out. There's always going to be a new pattern or route that you want to do to essentially try and figure out how you're going to take out the final night's boss.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I love about it.
Yeah. I do find Elden Ring's longevity to be lacking. I think it's a nice pickup and play game when it first came out. Like I think that's what Tell liked about it the most, was the fact that you can pick it up, play it, get down, put it down. I am curious about what you said though with the optimal way of playing thing. Do you feel like that could ruin Elden Ring Night Rain as well? Like people just optimizing or meta farming it to hell and just turn it into like if you don't run this, then you're not playing right.
Well, so the thing is that, I mean, you could play with anybody and they would do that. The idea is that realistically you can't guarantee.
It's random.
It is random. Yeah, you can't guarantee what side of the map you're not on. You can't guarantee what loot drops you get.
Yeah.
You can't even guarantee the actual bosses that show up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
So if I show up and a certain boss drops a certain weapon, I might not be guaranteed to get the weapon I want specifically, but you can guarantee certain elements and certain types of weapons depending on what area you go to, but you can't guarantee the highest level drop. You can't guarantee a legendary weapon drop every time.
Yeah. Interesting. Oh, all right. I'm glad you're still excited about it. I didn't think it was going to last that long. And to be fair, it hasn't, but to know that the
community is still there. You know what I mean? It's still there.
It's still something there. This is nice. My last piece of news is, again, what I mentioned earlier, and that's going to be about everything that they revealed at TennoCon. I'm not going to go into everything because it's a long list of stuff, because every TennoCon they release so much content for Warframe. And I don't even think there's been a time where they have announced an expansion pack for Warframe and they didn't deliver. But Warframe has an expansion called The Old Peace. And what this essentially is this article comes from IGN. It says, the following week of teasers and excitement from the community, DigitalExtremes has revealed the next major Warframe narrative, which is what they call their expansions essentially. Narrative chapter is an operator-focused story titled The Old Peace, centered around the peaceful time in the past. This new chapter is expected to launch later this year. Gameplay footage of The Old Peace reveals remastered look of players' Tenno operators, as well as they bounce between the present and the past. It's a lot to take in, with one lengthy segment revealing a mission that features a crucial bit of fan service, a playable version of Excalibur Prime, which is, for those of you who aren't aware, that's like a big deal because Excalibur is like one of the first Warframes, but I digress. This specific Warframe, previously made available only in the early Warframe adopters, won't become available ever again, but the old piece will at least allow players to finally step into his shoes for a new cinematic story-driven sequence. Yeah. So there is an obscene amount of lore for Warframe. And when they brought the ability to play as the operator, which is the human form of what comes out of a Warframe, which you kind of learn throughout playing the Warframe story. That story is like, I'm talking like a AAA level storyline that was like 25, 30 hours long. And it was incredible, with like emotional beats and betrayals and just an incredible amount of content that, again, that shouldn't come out of this looter shooter, because those, like, they don't ever do stuff like this, but I digress. Alongside the old piece's most notable additions comes the promise of a new mysterious faction in Tauros focused expansion, which comes with a new operator ultimate ability. DigitalExtremes is also maintaining its commitment to providing Warframe fans with a solid listening experience by publishing its new song Lullaby of the Manifold for free on YouTube. Basically, they release new songs and stuff. But I'm also excited for, I forget what they called it, and I don't think I see it in this article, and it could be in this article and I just missed it. But basically, they're coming out with like, because it's hard to explain to people that don't play Warframe. Warframes are, again, these biological suits, and they're coming out with the human versions of those biological suits, and they look extremely impressive. Like, I'm looking at the article now, and I'm looking at one of my favorite Warframes called Wisp. I'm looking at her version, her human version, and it just looks incredible. And I just cannot wait to see what story is revolved around whatever their human forms are, and how deep and far back this lore goes. It's such a good game. I need to play more of. Sorry. Let me stop gushing about DigitalExtremes. They're just so good.
Ain't nothing wrong with that, brother. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
With respect.
So my last news article will be Pokemon Presents. So when Pokemon does a Pokemon Direct or Pokemon Presents, they never give you details. They never tell you what they're going to talk about. But what we do have is information based off of what they normally would release around this time. Now, in years previously, we used to have a magazine from the Pokemon, or not even Pokemon company, but it was a Japanese comic magazine called Koro Koro. Mm-hmm. And they would always release Pokemon scans in there. Well, they stopped that because Pokemon would leak literally every time in advance to the Pokemon Direct. So we don't have Koro Koro scans, but we do have information on, like, we know Pokemon Legends ZA is a game that is coming out later on this year.
Is that, sorry to interrupt, but is that mainline?
It is a mainline game.
Okay, I will be playing.
Pokemon Legends ZA will be out October 16th, which is my waifu's birthday.
Hey.
So I'll have it. Not sure if I'll be playing that day, but I'll have it. But then they also have Pokemon Champions, which they talked about releasing. It'll be a game that is going to be on your Switch, but it'll also be on your mobile device where you can literally just battle. It'll be straight up competitive battling on the go or on your Switch.
It's like Pokemon Stadium.
Yes, but on your, like I said, an app on your phone or on your Switch. So you'll be able to actually, and we're not sure what that's going to look like if you're going to just be able to build teams. They haven't discussed that information yet.
So what you're talking about right now is all speculation. None of this is officially what
None of this is official, but this is what they could talk about.
And this Direct is on July 22nd.
So this is July 22nd. So it is yesterday as of you hearing this or the release of this episode. Okay. And then possibly the next Pokemon generation will be Generation 10. Pokemon Presents is releasing tomorrow, and they normally do this around, I believe this will be 7 a.m., 7 or 8 a.m. CST, which is going to be our time.
Okay.
So I'm thinking about recording it because I think only me and my wife will be the only ones up. So depending on how that goes, you may be seeing me talking about it
on the Respec. Yeah, record that joint, put it on either both Respec and your personal YouTube channel.
Yeah, but I'm excited. I'm excited, bro, because I always love Pokemon news, and they always drop some like while the game. I love how Pokemon has this simple aesthetic, but it's never really as simple as it looks.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to see what they give us.
That last story of the last mainline Pokemon story, I thoroughly enjoyed, even though it was running like complete boo-boo garbage on my Switch, unfortunately, with Respect. I still absolutely enjoyed I think I put maybe like 70, 80 hours into this game. Like I loved it.
And funny enough, the DLC made that story even better.
Oh, I didn't play the DLC. I missed the DLC.
It's fine, but the DLC completes the entirety of the story because there is more. And what's also interesting about it is normally, how they release a third game. Mm-hmm. The DLC is essentially the third game, but it's only $40 instead of paying the $60 for the third game. And it gives you all of it. It gives you 2 DLCs, basically, but it covers 2 different areas that kind of fill in the information for what you do.
Are the areas big enough and vast enough to warrant that $40 price tag?
Together, 100%.
Okay.
Individually, I would say it depends because they both bring their own series of Pokemon. So they both have entirely new groups of Pokemon that they add to it. And one of them even has like a legendary level Pokemon that is like just crazy. And then the other one actually just has a mythical Pokemon that is imperative to the storyline. Actually, one of them has 2 mythical Pokemon you catch, actually. So they do offer things in them that you can only get in them. But the story being completed is also kind of the cool part. There's some goofy, wonky parts in there where it's like, this is funny. But they also did optimization in it. So like it runs a little bit better. But then they also added more stuff.
And by a little bit better, he means it runs at 28 frames per second instead of 15.
Exactly. 28. Get your 28 here.
With Respect. All right. I'm so excited for that. Let us know what you think about our news segment. And if you would like to, again, add to our news segment, join our Discord, drop any articles or any conversation piece that you will want to discuss within our news section in the Discord. channel titled news. So now to move on to the new and upcoming releases. With this, we again chose 2 each of upcoming releases that we're excited to talk about. Again, some of these already came out, some of these are upcoming releases, but these are stuff that we are excited for. And again, if you have any games that you're excited about, drop it in our Discord. Starting off, and then again, links to everything that we're talking about here will be in the show notes. Starting off with No Sleep for the Konami Dante from AI, the Insomnium Files. Now, if you're not familiar with this, the Insomnia Files, these are detective puzzle games that I've thoroughly enjoyed watching. I never played them, but I love watching people play them. It's an extremely interesting series. It's almost visual novel-esque, but it has like these mysterious like detective pieces to them. Almost like when you finding out the cases of an ace attorney. You familiar with those games still? Of course you are. But yeah, it's some of my favorite games. I love those. I think I have all of them on PC. But here's what this one is about. A day after the new Cyclops serial killings was resolved, the internet idol Iris Sagan, known as ASET, is abducted by a UFO and forced to participate in a perilous escape game called the Third Eye Game. Meanwhile, in another part of the city, a mysterious device is discovered. It resembles a coffin, and attached to it is a note that reads, "Psych me." Relying on a tenacious line of communications with the missing Iris, one man rises once again, determined to track down the UFO that should not even exist. Together with his partner, the AI Ball Alba, he is set out on a quest, and that man is Special Agent Kamine Dante. Now, this game comes out. It comes out July 25th this week, and it already has a 79 on Metacritic, so already pretty decent reviews. Am I going to play it? I think maybe. It's also out on PC and Switch. I don't know if I'm going to play it though, because a lot I want to play, but I'm very intrigued and maybe even watching it.
Yeah, I mean, and I do like those kind of games where there's a lot of thought and puzzles in it.
Yep.
So I might even pick it up too, because I'm thinking about that ReZero game, which had a lot of thought and puzzle to it. While it was a slight dating sim as well, it was a lot of puzzles and figuring it out in there, as ReZero normally does.
Yeah.
Now, one of the games that I'm bringing for new and upcoming releases, I think Polow and I both kind of have a little interest in, and it's WUCHANG, Fallen Feathers. Now, this is WUCHANG Fallen Feathers is a Souls-like action RPG set in a dark fantasy version of China's Ming Dynasty. Now, essentially what's going on is there's a disease called the feathering that is mutating people into monsters. And you play as Bai WUCHANG or Bei WUCHANG. She has amnesia and is a pirate warrior afflicted with the feathering. Now, this studio is Lindsay Games, and I think this is actually their second like main project that they're working on. I think
didn't both their titles are like a wushu type games?
No, the other one was like and I could be wrong, but it's a AD 2047. It's like this robotic looking game, but they have been partners on other projects like Street Fighter 6, Last of Us Part 2, Yakuza 0, Yooka-Laylee, and The Impossible Lair. So they have partnered on other games and helped with games, but I believe they have 2 new solo projects, which is the AD 2047 and then this one. So this is actually a pretty exciting process for them, and I'm actually excited for the game as a Souls-like in general.
Yeah, I also forgot to mention for AI Insomnia Files is that studio is Spike Chunsoft, and that's the studio that does like Danganronpa, if anybody's familiar with that series. And that series is very intense and very deep too. But yeah, WUCHANG is interesting. I looked at it. You know what it reminded me of?
What was that?
It's this other game that's coming out soon with a beta, and I believe that beta is this week actually, and that's Where the Winds Meet. It's a wushu game as well, but it's not necessarily Souls-like, but it's an MMO that also has like a single player story that you can play through, and you can request access to the demo for it now. So make sure you guys check that out on Steam. or you can sign up for it on the website for PS5 or if you're a console player. But that looks extremely intriguing, and I cannot wait. And hopefully I get into the beta because I signed up on both the website and on Steam request. So I'm hoping this week I can get into that beta and give that a try because it looks extremely interesting. For my second game that I'm bringing for the new releases that comes out is Wildgate. That comes out July 24th. Wildgate is a PvP multiplayer shooter that blends tactical ship-to-ship combat with fast-paced first-person action. Evade deadly environmental hazards, search for powerful weapons and ship upgrades, and be the first crew to escape with the artifact, or the last crew left flying. Blast off into high-stakes spaceship battles with intense first-person shootouts where no two matches are ever the same. If you want to claim the ultimate prize, the mysterious and priceless artifact, you'll need to improvise on the fly. Whether it's chasing down rival crews or instilling their gear, repairing your damaged ship, or scanning for precious resources, your ship is your home and lifeline for you and your prospector crew. Keep it topped with ice, fuel, and ammo so that you're ready for anyone and anything that the Reach throws at you. I'm not really a big first person shooter guy anymore, but this looks interesting to me for the simple fact is that it's in space.
The game seems multifaceted already.
Yeah, and I like space stuff, man. I always love space stuff. So that's what piqued my interest about this one. And it's only out on
Mass Effect.
That's
earlier.
true. That's true. Yeah, it is releasing on all consoles, but the PC release date is July 24th.
All right, my
consoles.
My final one is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4, which most of us and many of us will already know what this is. This is a remake. Now, this game already released July 11th, but this is essentially just a remake of the classic games, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4. The gameplay is going to be a continuation of what you already expect, just updated graphics and a little bit smoother than what we've had before. Now, when I saw this game, I thought about what Polow was saying earlier about getting into that NDA. I was actually in a skate alpha. Yeah. And I got to experience that and see what that was like. And while that was extremely fun, there was a nostalgia lacking, a nostalgia missing. And Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4, which I actually have the remake of Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2.
Or 1 and 2. It's both. Right?
1 and 2. Yeah. I actually have that remake already. I feel like I'm obligated to get this one because you think about the music. They have the old music, not all of it, but they have a lot of the old soundtrack, and they also added new music that I hope fits the aesthetic. And then it's the gameplay that you know and love. And it's a game that you could just sit down. It's like lo-fi the game.
Yep, you just turn off your brain and kind of do whatever, or you can hard focus into it and trick combo your mind away.
And it had the levels to it where you could do whatever. So I am excited. In general, I'm gonna be picking this up just to have in my backlog, regardless.
Yeah, 100%. All right, and moving on, let's talk about this critical hit. So
this critical hit is
which is the main topic of the show, by the way.
It is the main topic of the show. We're here. This critical hit is a topic that I have been thinking about, and I feel like it's an idea of like a practice in broadening your perspective on gaming in general. But the topic is gaming diversity, and just kind of some questions that surround that. So, Polow, I'm going to pose the first question to you, and then I'll also do mine. But what is your gaming palette like? So what is your taste in gaming? What does that look like for you?
Yeah, so my taste in games is, I talked about that last week in our first episode, but it's extremely vast, right? Dude, it's so vast that I can't even put it into words. Mostly I guess you can consider my main focus and favorite kind of like game to play is MMOs. MMO specifically with my friends. I played so many thousands of hours of Final Fantasy 14, of Elder Scrolls Online, of Guild Wars 2, of just so many different types of MMOs. And whenever there are Black Desert Online, of course, I got upwards of 10,000 hours in Black Desert. That was the main game I streamed for about 5 years of my life. So yeah, like MMOs are my bread and butter. I can probably go into great detail about why the MMO is fantastic and why it's not so good with respect. But yeah, MMOs is basically my palette, but I also have a strong love for single player RPGs. And again, some of my favorites being Nier Automata or even Ghost of Tsushima or Cyberpunk, like for, modern titles to mention. I just love those type of games. And then we have to talk about my love of strategy games. Dude, it's just, I have a very versed palette of games, I should say, for sure. What about you? What's yours?
So
more so PvP, right?
So I would like to say that and I'm going to pose that to you as well when we get there. But my palette has changed over time. Mm-hmm. And early on, I would like to say that often I was a single player game. Yeah. Like I was single player. That's all I did. I played, just that's what I did. A lot of adventure solo games. As I've gotten older, I have, I would say I've kind of dove into these PvP games, or you could even say, like, I wouldn't say MMO, but they normally require a multiplayer fan base, but I play them solo. And it's hilarious because it's like they're a lot of them are PvP focused. But I really love, and this is what I love about PvP that I stated before, is I love considering what that other person on the other side is thinking about. Yeah. And that is what I love about PvP games, but it's also what I love about just like Polow has stated before, strategy games. I like playing strategy games, even if I'm just playing against the computer. Sometimes I'll open up chess, bro, and just play chess because I know that computer is going to outsmart me, but I want to try and figure out what the strategy is behind it. And it is a lot of what I do. Even with I play Pokemon TCG Pocket on my phone, and I will literally just play the strategy, just play against the computer to build a new strategy, build a new deck. Yeah. And it's always about if the game allows me customization to build something to compete, I will play it. And I love that. Now, I do see that in terms of what I currently have in my library, this is what I'm going to also ask Polow, is I do have a lot of different games in my library. Like you could ask me maybe 6 years ago, I was playing Don't Starve together. Don't Starve. I was playing, I didn't even touch Minecraft. I'm not even going to lie to you. I just picked up a game, Dead by Daylight. And then I've also had a bunch of time in fighting games, like Street Fighter, a little bit of Tekken, but mostly Street Fighter, and even Dragon Ball. So my taste has expanded and changed a lot, but even Polow would know for a year, maybe a year and a half, I would only play Apex Legends. For a year before that, I would only play Heroes of the Storm, and that was probably more than just a year. So there's these bouts of times where I was strictly playing these games that were certain types of focus.
So yeah, looking at my Steam library, just look at the diversity I have here. Install locally. I did just add an SSD, a new NVMe to my computer, so I have another 2 terabytes of space, and that kind of pushed me to download a bunch of games that I know I wanted to play. So just looking at what I've been playing like recently, or have downloaded recently, and maybe not even have touched like I would like, but Stalker 2 finally has a big update that kind of fixes what was messed up at the beginning of it. I do want to do a full playthrough of that finally, now that it's completely patched out. But Assassin's Creed Shadows, I do still love. I love Assassin's Creed Shadows particularly because I do find that to be a very immersive world. That's all I'm saying to that. But dude, I've been going through just a phase where I've been playing like Guardians of Ozma or Rune Factory. Guardians of Ozma, that new Rune Factory game. I love life simulator games like that, like Animal Crossing and shit too. And then, yeah, man, it's just so many different games that I play. That question made me realize the fact that I am extremely versed, right?
You're a game hoarder.
Yes. That's
you hoarding the games.
Very much hoarding games right now. Unfortunately, with this new puppy I got, I haven't been able to play much. But I mean, also Octopath Traveler 2, I've also started that recently, and I've got about 10 hours into that. Fantastic so far. But yeah, and then even we spent a lot of time in Mecha Brick. Oh, there's so many games.
Now let me pose this question to you, brother.
Mm-hmm.
Of all the games you have, of all the genres you've played, what genre or what game would you like to add to your library?
Well, like as far as like genre goes that I haven't played yet?
Yeah.
Good question, man. Great question.
Or not even that you haven't played, but is there a genre that you would like to add more of to your library that you not your typical MMO? You already play MMO. Oh, yeah. You already play your solo RPGs. Is there a genre you would like to add more, like that Ace Attorney or something like that?
You know what? That's very interesting. Yeah. And to be honest, it's more so like, I would say I want more, I guess I have, right? I guess I've already done that. A genre that I haven't played, I've added to my library recently, and that is the mobile game.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Uma Musume, which is that horse game that is taking the world by storm, the horse girl game. That is a game that I would never in a million years find myself playing until I played it. And then when I played it, I became addicted, and I haven't been able to put it down because of the simple fact is that and it's going to go into the next question, that how do those games affect your outlook on, or your daily life? This game has been perfect for my daily life because of the fact that I am able to pick it up on my phone, play it while still taking care of the puppy without having pressures of, oh, I got to make sure I'm aiming here, or I got to make sure I click ahead there, or I got to make sure I'm choosing the right decision here. I could just hold it in my hand and not press anything and still play the game. And I absolutely love that about Uma Musume. But also, that is it's so pick up and play, but extremely deep too. Like it's there's a layer of depth within this game that is so surprising to me that it really got me focused. And it maybe goes to that, how you are super hyper focused into the IVs and EVs or IJVs or whatever the hell it is in Pokemon. That's exactly how I feel about Uma Musume, where I'm like investing in trying to get the best sparks to pass down to the next legacy, to pass down via legacy to the next Uma Musume. That's exactly what it is. Yeah, to race them and hopefully build the best parents to build the next horse. It is just, and again, it's so pick up and play. Like a lot of the time I'm playing it on my PC at like 6 o'clock in the morning because the dog wakes up that early after he comes in from outside, and then he has to go out an hour and a half later. So I could just pick up my phone, turn on the game on my phone, and it picks up right where I left off. Like I never even, turned on the computer. It's just perfect for that. And that's, again, to go to the next question. I don't even know what genre this is. What do you call this? Let me see if they have it in
like a coaching.
Yeah. So they anime cute gambling sports horses 3D is what the the tags are on Steam. But it's all of that. It's a sports coaching life sim gambling game, I guess.
I was gonna say definitely a life sim coaching game is what I would put there. Now, because I love that, and I did pick up the game as well. I'm clearly not as good at it as Polow.
I'm ready to PvP. Let's go.
No, stop it.
With respect.
The game genre I want to add to my library is MMO.
Yes, man. Please.
It's MMO, and I want to, because I have played them before. Like I played Cabal Online. I played Invictus, and there's games that I really wanted to add MMOs to like my daily, my be able to like just do it daily. And it has always been hard for me, bro. It's always been hard for me because like I said, I will pick up a game. And I love the idea of being able to play it alone, but MMOs are not alone games.
Nope.
They're not alone games, and I want to pick it up, and I don't even want to talk to anybody sometimes, and I want to just play the game. And you can do that,
especially nowadays.
But I'm not Kirito. I'm not that good at the game where I can play solo and just own every boss or anything like that, and then go to a party and just be a substantially good part of the party. I'm not that.
Yeah. And don't you like more like actiony stuff too when it comes to like MMOs?
I do, but I think that what I actually enjoy is a level of engagement that is different, right? And I think that's why I play like Invictus, right? Because when I would fight a boss, sometimes you had to pick up a barrel and throw the barrel at the boss. Sometimes you had to pick up a spike, stick the spike in the boss, land the spike. That's why I think Monster Hunter was so good for me.
Yeah.
If the MMO was like Monster Hunter, I think I could be hooked on it.
And I think that's what's going to be hard to find for you, because a lot of these MMOs are tab target. Tab target is a whole different beast when it comes to these things, because it's not as quote unquote engaging, but I mean, it still offers some, engagement thought processes.
Exactly. I'm not disagreeing with that. I just know that what I needed was exactly that, is that I needed to be in direct control of the character, not tab the target. Yep. I don't mind having a bunch of buttons to press, but when I got 30 spells and I got to be able to cast 12 of them at any given time,
got to know a rotation.
And I got to have all these buttons here. I'm like, nah, bro, I need a combo.
That's why.
You know what I mean?
For those of you watching the video version on Spotify, that's why I use this baby right here. This is a MMO mouse. Has 12 buttons on the side. I would never live without an MMO mouse.
But that also goes to like the outlook of how it affects my daily life, is that I know that I don't have the time to sit down and invest in playing an MMO like that, unless I wait till the kids go to sleep, which is fine for me. I don't mind waiting until they go to sleep. But that's why, like what Polow said, I do play some mobile games, but a lot of the games I play are I can communicate, or I don't have to communicate, because of the fact that sometimes my kid's loud and I don't feel like opening my mic and saying, hey, the kid's loud right now, I ain't talking, that kind of thing. But that also leads me into like a question I want to end with, and it could be I'm just gonna say what it is, and that's why MMOs intimidate me. Is because I don't have, and I hate falling behind on anything. You know what I mean? When I play Pokemon, I beat it, I get to the PvP, I'm not behind. Even now, if I was to pick up a Pokemon game and play it, I know I'm not behind, because I know what the meta is. And it takes a lot of focus and attention to be able to do that, and stay on point and on guard, and being able to just catch up with the meta like that. And I know that for an MMO, the amount of time and effort I need to put in to be able to maintain that kind of thing, I have to already have beaten the game, and then make it to a point to where resource gathering and whatnot to continue to upgrade my equipment or get the right equipment to do that. I would already have to like get there and make that part of the game easy. And I know I know what that effort looks like. I don't have the time to do that. Thus, I find MMOs intimidating, and that's my question I would like to pose to you as our ending question for Gaming Diversity, brother. Is what video game genre do you actually find intimidating? If any.
Arena shooters and the Call of Duties or the sports games. I find those intimidating, but more so the first person shooters like Call of Duty, or even Apex. Like if I'm not playing it with people I know I'm going to have fun with, and just have fun and not take it too seriously, then I'm good. But when I go to play them, I get frustrated, because a lot of the times, especially nowadays, people don't, like if it's an objective-based game like Make or Break, they don't follow the objective, or they just focus on getting kills or whatever the case may be. And that frustrates me, because I understand that these games are objective-based, and that's probably why I like Battlefield more, because you can either get kills or be on the objective and still participate in the overarching goal of winning. But arena shooters is not so much. It's wholly focused on playing the objective and you get kills on the side of that I find intimidating, because unless I'm playing with a full group of people like we were with Mecha Break, I won't have fun because I would just be frustrated.
And granted, playing Mecha Break with our 3-stack was great because we could carry a team.
Yeah, totally.
Because everybody else is doing who knows what.
Nobody knows.
But the enemy team was doing the same thing. They were doing the same thing. They might have one or two like us who was on the objective.
Yep.
But because we are coordinated, we're 3 working as a unit. Most times we could clutch it. Now, there were times when we did not clutch it, and we could tell because there was 6 of them. It had to be 6. There had to be 5. There had to be 4.
Yep.
There had to be more of them than there was us.
True.
And you could tell how that game would go every time, because those games were either extremely close and we barely lost them, or they were like a complete wash. And it was like we had a teammate who literally just turned off the game,
going somewhere else,
or something like that. They were literally fighting and losing. And granted, you, I, and Multipurpose were literally always top of the scoreboards every time.
Yep. With Respec, they were bad. But it was still fun. It was a lot of fun, even though I do find that genre of game intimidating for sure.
Not the character creation though.
No, I love that character creation. With that'll be game over. Let us know what you think of everything that we talked about here. Again, if you have any suggestions on how we can change the show, make the show better, evolve it, we will gladly hear it. So please leave a comment on the YouTube video with any suggestions you have, or in our Discord, or message us individually on Discord. It doesn't matter where you message us. Just let us know what you think about this podcast so far, because we are open to evolution and making this a better experience for you to listen to. As always, with respect to games, gamers, and my brother, King Telliano, we out. Peace.